give you guys a bit of a track day review here. We'll see how this goes. It's proving to be somewhat difficult to ride at track pace and talk at the same time, so I'm gonna back it down a notch here. Give you a little bit of a riding impression. This bike is my personal bike. It's a 2013 Aprilia RSV4R. I've done more than a few modifications to it, mostly to make it a bit more track focused, and focusing primarily on making the bike a bit lighter. If these have one Achilles heel from the factory, it's that they're a bit heavy compared to most of the other leader bikes. Stock RSV4 full of fuel, weighs about 460 pounds. This bike, thanks to a multitude of mods, is down to just under 430. It's about 427 pounds with fuel in track mode. It's got Öhlins suspension front and rear, 30mm Öhlins cartridges in the forks, and an Öhlins TTX GP shock. Forged aluminum wheels, a Krapovich full titanium exhaust, race ECU, some titanium hardware, little bits and pieces here and there, rear sets, the usual mods, nothing too crazy. Track bodywork by Catalyst. These things, surprisingly, are really good at hiding their weight. The chassis is just so good. You never really felt that the bike was all that heavy. So it's interesting, the RSV4 is a pretty rare bike to see another one on the street. But at track days, they're all over the place. There are at least 6 other RSV4s here this weekend. Granted, out of 40 or so bikes, that's still a pretty small percentage, but considering how few of those bikes they've seemed to have sold, it makes good sense. These things really live at the track. This is what they are all about. While the phrase race bike with headlights on it is way overused these days, I feel like Aprilia delivers a little more true on that statement. The bike that you get with one of these off the showroom floor doesn't seem to make as many compromises as most other mass-produced sport bikes. Granted, if you look closely at pictures between this bike and its World Superbike equivalent, there are a lot of changes. Things like completely different swing arm, different shock linkage. Basically, big chunks of the bike are very different at the world competitive level, but really just feels like you're getting more race bike for your money with Aprilia. And you get this sound! Oh man, the V4 just sounds so amazing. It's intoxicating. And at the track, you can actually listen to it sing without having to worry about going to jail like on the street. So being that this is an RSV4R rather than an RSV4 factory means that on this particular bike, I don't have all the fancy adjustable frame geometry settings that the factory has. You can, on those bikes, you can adjust, for example, the swing arm pivot position, the position of the engine within the frame to change the center of gravity. You can change the headstock to change brake and trail. I will mention, however, that the new model, the 2016 and newer RSV4s, the lower model, which is now called the RR, also gets fully adjustable frame, geometry, and so forth. Same amount of power. And those new bikes awesomely have 15 more horsepower than this old previous generation. I know the phrase, a leader bike that feels like a 600, also gets thrown around way too often these days, especially with bikes like the Yamaha R1 getting smaller and smaller with each iteration. This bike really does epitomize that concept. The frame is so compact. The bike really does just handle so sweetly. It's hard to describe how well the bike handles because really it feels telepathic to me. You never have to really think about making the bike do what you want it to do. You just ride it and it does that for you. Excuse me. It's so intuitive to ride. I like to say that this bike, while it won't punish you for being inexperienced, it certainly rewards you for knowing what you're doing. It's not going to bite you if you're not familiar with leader bike power, for example, because of the way the power band is. It's not an all or nothing power band. It has a ton of mid-range, and it actually lacks on the top end compared to something like the new R1. Not that it has much less peak power, but just the way it feels when that power is delivered. This bike feels much more linear, and in turn that makes the bike feel much more controllable, especially when you're trying to ride it at your limit. And I say your limit because the limit of the machinery on something like this is so much higher than most riders, myself absolutely included. It doesn't feel to me, though, that it's dumbed down in any way. That unwillingness to try to kill you doesn't make it feel any less sharp, any less evil, because it still is a beast. No doubt about it. Just such a joy to ride. And while my bike is probably not the freshest example of a motor around, being that I have 30,000 miles on this bike. If you haven't already seen it, I have another video where I discuss kind of a long-term review of the bike over the 30,000 miles that I've done. Of those 30,000 miles, quite a bit of them have been done here at Chuckwalla. While the electronic controls on this bike might not seem as impressive as, say, the new R1 on paper, of course, these electronic systems are a generation old now, but they really do the job well. Traction control, while it will save your ass, on lower settings will allow quite a bit of wheel spin, which has the net effect of either making you feel like a hero or requiring use of clean underwear after a session, depending on just how much wheel spin. So there you have it. There was a somewhat brisk lap of Chuckwalla Valley Raceway in Desert Center, California. Hope you got at least a small idea of what it's like to take the RSV4 to the track, which is really where these things shine. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe.